And the time has come for a new state-only challenge after we finished off the Michigan State-only challenge on Wednesday in what was a disappointing playoff game. Unfortunately, that offense just never quite had it, so they add to the tally of the failed state-only challenges, of which we'll come back to after finishing off the first go for all of these other ones. And speaking of first go, you guys have voted for a new state-only challenge, and the winner, as you could kind of probably tell from the title and thumbnail of the episode, is going to be the Central States-only challenge. That is going to be Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. That's the best possible name I could come up for them because they don't share really any geographical region. You have the Ozarks, that's going to be in Missouri and Arkansas. That's not going to be in Nebraska. Nebraska and maybe a little bit of Missouri, they're part of the Central Plains or just the plains in general. Meanwhile, Arkansas is not. So none of them share the same area. So we're just going to call them the Central State-only challenge, not to be confused with the Central Plains States-only challenge that was Oklahoma, Kansas, and Colorado. So we are starting anew today. And the team we'll be using are the Kansas City Chiefs. And by team, it's uniform and stadium. Now, don't be surprised. Kansas City, they're actually Kansas City, Missouri, not Kansas City, Kansas. So it ends up working out pretty well for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't really have a team to use. So we will be using the Kansas City Chiefs. And as for our head coach, it's going to be Arkansas great Darren McFadden. He played for the Raiders, he played for the Cowboys, he's from Arkansas. I feel like this is a pretty good match, and this is the closest face that we have available to him. So he's not quite looking like Darren McFadden, but he's going to be our head coach nonetheless. And just as we do in all of these sim-based series, it will be on All Pro, not All Madden, because it is 98% sim. We only jump in, occasionally run a drive or a play here and there. And Madden is most optimized for All Pro, so this limits any of Madden's shenanigans. It'll be still the 8 minutes that we normally run on. The only things we are going to be changing is we are turning off dynamic momentum because I really just feel like that breaks the game, not really adds to it. In addition, injuries will be on. However, pre-existing injuries will be off. That way, we could use all available players right out the get-go. So with the settings all done, it's time to actually start this, which is drafting our team. And of course, to start drafting, we have to find out what team we have to draft from first. So pulling up the big spinny wheel, you can see the 4 D1 FBS teams. There are a whole lot of FCS, D2, D3, and even lesser schools that may have some possible guys for us to pick up. Those are going to have to be a deep dive to find them, but for us to have a real draft at the beginning, we're going to start with the 4 big teams. One from each state, then Arkansas does have Arkansas State. So let's spin the wheel and see who we have to draft from first. And as that thing does start to spin, I'm going to shift over, look at the other screen so I can see who we have to actually draft. And it's going to be Nebraska. Now that is the one school I'm not sure we have a quarterback from. So we're going to have to check that first. And just already the top quarterbacks are well off the board, with the top 2 now being Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. And at least on the available board, I went through all of them and there was not a single Nebraska quarterback on here. So we have to hope that we have some Missouri guys a little bit later because I know there are a few. But that leaves us able to draft any position, but it has to be from Nebraska. As per usual with this series, we're going to go through the first 5 selections together. Then I'm going to finish up the rest of the team, still going with Nebraska first, and then allowing us to go into other teams. And hopefully we're able to find some big guys. So let's see who we go after first. And after going through my handy list of players, I think Cam Taylor-Britt would be the best possible player for us to take early on here because he's young, he's 23 years old, he's at corner, it's an important spot, he's a star dev, and he's pretty well balanced, slightly angled more towards zone, but the man is not bad. He has tackle ability with a little bit of some press. He could play either on the inside or on the outside. That's why I really like him here. However, he's not the highest rated player that we could go after. That would be Levante David. However, he's a bit older. He's 33, but he is a superstar X Factor. I would imagine he would be here for 1, max 2 years, retire after he's 35. So that's a 1-year stopgap. If he's still available after this first selection, we will go with David. But considering how many of these have really just been 1 year, not many, we're going to go for the longevity here with Cam Taylor-Britt. To be our first selection, we have what most likely, I'm pretty sure, is going to be our top corner. And luckily for us, that is not going to cost us our top middle linebacker. He's still available. Lavonte David will be our second selection. And keeping in the trend of defensive players, next up is going to be Randy Gregory. Going for the defensive line here. He's 30 years old, 75 overall. We'll see where we end up playing him. He's at least a weight and a little bit of some strength that could be a combination, but most likely I'm thinking 3-4 out the get-go here. But we are going to go with Randy Gregory. And you guessed it, we're sticking defense with our fourth selection, this time a DT in Malik Collins. He's 28, 73 overall, normal dev. He has a little bit of some strength, not anything crazy, but a blend of finesse with a little bit of block shedding would be a rush DT here for us. And we'll wrap up going with the highest available offensive lineman. We have Cam Jurgens. He's young, 24 years old, normal dev, and he is fairly decently in terms of the just straight up run and pass blocking. However, he's definitely more of a finesse guy. Would have to work a little bit on the power, but he's got good lead block, a solid building block to say the least. And that gives us 5 of the 23 total available Nebraska players, at least from my list. The list could possibly be wrong. From here, I'm going to fill out the roster going Nebraska first. If there are no Nebraska players for me to pick up, then it will open up for all of the Arkansas and Missouri schools. And fingers crossed we got a quarterback. Now let's meet the full roster here. And already you could see it's not going to be a very highly rated roster. We have 3 guys 80 or above, and 2 of those 3 are exactly at 80. Lavonte David, Cam Taylor-Britt, Mitch Morse, Deatrick Wise Jr., and Traylon Burks make up the top 5 guys of this roster. Going through each spot, it's going to be Drew Lock at quarterback for us, with the backup being Blaine Gabbert. And there's really not much other options here for us. As for the running backs, Amir Abdullah, J.D. McKissick are kind of going to share a similar role at being the catch back. And then Tyler Batty, I feel like he might be the more traditional running back because he doesn't have as much catching ability, but more break, tackle, trucking. I don't know. We'll probably rotate running backs pretty well. We do have a fullback in Cethan Carter. Pure guess on that one. But again, if I mispronounce any names, do definitely let me know. I want to make sure I get those correct as often as possible. As for the receivers, we do have Traylon Burks. Already talked about him. Number 2 is going to be Trey Palmer. So we're pretty young at the receiving group. And then we just have a handful of guys here at the bottom that are probably going to rotate, perhaps. We'll see. Play the hot hand. Samori Torre, I believe that's how you pronounce that one. There's also Christian Wilkerson, Stanley Morgan Jr., and Matt Landers. So it's not a very highly rated group at all. We're going to use the Carolina Panthers offense. So we're going to have a lot more tight ends than receiver play, potentially. Kind of depends on how that ends up playing out. But it's going to be Albert O for our starting tight end. He's got a lot of speed, really good acceleration. And then Jack Stoll behind him, also pretty good speed and acceleration. We also have Travis Vokolek, maybe one of those. Again, I do my best to assume these pronunciations. Mitch Morse moves from center to left tackle. He's our best pass blocker. Behind him, we do have Larry Borum. Left guard is going to be another name that I'm going to struggle to pronounce. I know the last name is Froholt, but Holt? I have no idea. Definitely one I'm going to have to look up. Connor McGovern and Nick Gates are our centers. Over at right guard, there is Cam Jurgens and Matt Farniok? Again, I don't know. Best assumptions. Jason Peters at right tackle. He's definitely going to need to be replaced at some point. He's 41 years old. As for the defensive line, we have a variety of guys, and they could all play each of the positions as we are running a 3-4. Armin Watts, Sam Roberts, currently listed at left end. At right end, we do have Deatrick Wise Jr., as well as Jonathan Marshall. Down the middle DTs, we have Malik Collins, Ndamukong Suh, Brandon Williams, and Jeremiah Ledbetter. Again, all of these guys can play every single spot. As for the edge rushers, there is Marcus Golden and Trey Flowers on the left side, right side, Randy Gregory and Charles Harris. Probably our most well-rounded group, probably going to be heavy rotation. Inside backer, Levante David leads the group. However, he does not have a mentor tag, which is unfortunate. There's also Dylan Cole, Terez Hall, Nathan Jerry, as well as Bumper Pool. Fun name. At corner, Cam Taylor Britt leads the group. There's also Mike Ford and a Caleb Evans, my dude. Hopefully he performs really well for us. Not sure who I'm going to quite have play in the slot. Taking a look at the tackle ratings, it's either going to be Evans or Taylor Britt. The best press guys, though, are those same guys. So maybe we end up having to put Mike Ford at slot. Kind of depends. We are technically a man cover team. However, we have our best in zone coverage. So we'll see how well that ends up playing out. To help round out, though, the cornerback group, there is Robert Rochelle, Trayman Smith, Sam Webb, and Monteric Brown. Safeties, Jonathan Owens and Joshua Bledsoe at free. Strong, we have George Odom and Tyree Gillespie. Kicker is going to be Brett Maher and punter Jamie Gillian. But as for our first draft class we'll have available to us, it's not looking all too promising. There are 8 total prospects, with the highest possible are 2 projected 3rd to 4th rounders. There is a right end in Caleb Dawson, 6'5", 269 out of Nebraska, more looks like a 3-4 edge rusher. And then there is a receiver in Cecil Dennard. That is a spot we definitely could use some help. Hopefully he ends up panning out. Out of Missouri, 6 foot 208. And the only other draftable guy is Assad Rivers from Nebraska, a DT at 6'2", 305. So there's not a whole lot, and we're not picking most likely until the second round. Hopefully either Caleb Dawson or Dennard is worth that second round pick, so we have a first round pick we could play with. And my immediate thought was we have 2 position groups I would like to address. Safety is one of them, but we have 2 starting caliber players. They're on the older side, but you just have 2 starters out there. Middle linebacker, we need 2. And we really only have 1 true starter, and no one down the line shows the potential of really being able to be a do-it-all guy. You got a little bit of coverage here with Dylan Cole, but he has 64 block shed. No one else can really cover, and no one else can really block shed. So I think the most impactful move here for us would be to go after another linebacker. And the guy I would want to bring in is Dre Greenlaw. Teaming him up with David would be fantastic. He's a star dev, played at Arkansas. He's 26 years old. He can cover, he can shed some blocks. He's a pretty good tackler. He's got some good speed acceleration. He's a do-it-all guy, 7th ranked, right outside linebacker, would actually stay in the middle. I want to see if we could get him from the Browns. Now, if we just look at the get offers, they're not interested in any package, but let's see where they truly are if we go ahead and pitch in this first round pick. Actually gets us pretty close. But what will get the job done is going to be a current 1st and 5th, a future 4th, and then a future 4th. We'll bring in Greenlaw plus a current 7th round pick. Now with that trade finalized, this is the original starting lineup. Moving on in for the Central States only challenge here. Drew Lock obviously going to be our quarterback. Batty, like I said, is going to be the primary running back. We're still going to see a good bit of Abdullah as well as McKissick, and he's even going to get involved a little bit as slot receiver, which we'll see. Starting outside receivers are going to be Traylon Burks and Trey Palmer. Need them to try to help elevate this team. It's not a bad starting offensive line. It's not the best starting offensive line. Hopefully Albert O's speed is really going to help us out. Defensively, we're going to see a good rotation for these defensive linemen, though I will say the main guys are probably going to be Sue and Wise. Collins mixing in there a little bit. Really happy with the inside backers. Really hope they help elevate this team. We got a lot of guys to rotate in at the outside linebacker spot. Some weakness in the DB group. Hopefully we see some good plays and those guys start to rise. As for the specialist, as mentioned, we are going to see a little bit of McKissick at slot receiver, but it will be Traylon Burks being the main starter there. So what that's going to mean is we're actually going to see Landers get an opportunity to start on the outside whenever we spread 3 or even 4 wide. because he has a whole lot more release than any of the guys below him. He also has better release than Burks. So we'll see what he's able to do and if he can prove himself. The third down running back will be McKissick. We also have Abdullah. They could switch around. Batty's going to be the power back. As for the defense, we are going to start Ford at slot corner. We'll see how that does. We could also put Evans there if we need to and just switch those guys. The rush ends are going to be Golden and Gregory with Wise and Sue down the middle. Again, Collins is also probably going to rotate in a good bit. Sub backer is obviously going to be David and Greenlaw, and then Cole will back up just across the board. So it's not an awful starting team here, but there's definitely a lot to hopefully get better at. And I'm just hoping Drew Lock is going to channel his Gardner Minshew pretty much from the Pacific Northwest Challenge, as he did it really well. But we start with a 72 offense, 76 defense. We're 73 across the board. And our first test is against Lions here, who are 87 offense, 83 defense. They do have Sauce Gardner, so we'll just see how this team does, get our first impressions, and move on from there. Begin on offense. Drew Lock helping lead the way for the Central States Only Challenge. It will be at pass play 1. Going up top, and it's just a little bit off the mark. We decided to rock with the Carolina playbook because we're hoping for short, quicker passes, try to get the running backs involved through the air, see how well that actually ends up helping us as we do find Alberto, but it's just a gain of 2. That'll leave us with a 3rd and 8, in which we got 3 down to the bottom. Tight end up top. Lock from the pocket. Though it's collapsing, he's trying to roll and he gets it away, but he throws it away. So it will be a 3 and out to open up, and that was kind of as expected. I really don't expect much from the offense this first season, but I expect more from this defense. We have some key players, and hopefully we see them have just a good season, as the first play, it is knocked away. Gotta love that the first play of the defense is a knock away by my guy in Evans. If you guys aren't aware, Vikings fan, so I'm a fan of Evans. As they hand it off the next play, and it opens up down the middle. I can't be giving that up too often. We have too many guys to help fill that middle spot and too many good linebackers to help give up those kind of runs. Need the box to really come through for this team, as that's much better. Greenlaw getting the tackle. It's a gain of 5, but that's about half of what they had the first time. Also really hope we see the linebackers in David and Greenlaw force some turnovers. Interceptions, force fumbles, all would be great, as it's a throw across the middle and it's wide open for Keenan Allen. So far, not doing anything crazy. We're not giving up a lot of yards after the initial opening, but I would like to just not give up any yards as they go with the stretch down the bottom. Robinson trying to find some space, which he will end up gaining a few. However, a flag comes in late. They're going to end up calling a holding on their center, so we'll back them up 1st and 18. First big play for the defense, as they're just shy of midfield. Go back to the running game. Robinson down the middle, not going to get very far, just a short gain. Also very interested to see who's going to be the main sack guy for us. We obviously, if you guys were here for the Michigan State Only Challenge we just finished, it was Max Crosby, as that's a massive gain on 2nd and long. They're down to the red zone. Quite a big play for Leonard Fournette. Not sure if he came out the backfield. Honestly, I don't remember if there was a running back. I don't know. 1st and 10 either way. Wilson from the pocket, going to the bottom corner, and almost a great catch. Even a better defensive play by Greenlaw. Knocks the ball away, brings up 2nd and 10. They got 2 tight ends down the bottom, plus a receiver. As they go down the middle, Robinson, who will pick up a couple before getting dropped by the linebackers, and Owens. And honestly, I'm not even sure we've had a 3rd down yet, but we've got one here. 3rd and 7 at the 17. It's empty set. Wilson towards the end zone. It gets picked off. And then taking the knee right after it is Odom with the first big play of the Central States Only Challenge. And hopefully we see that momentum carry with the offense as Batty picks up 6, then 2, leaves 3rd and 2, and we don't pick it up. 4th and inches at the 30. Well, this is a great example of when I do jump in. just key situations I want us to go for as we hand this one off to Carter, who will pick up the first down with a gain of 2. And then from there, right back into the sim as McKissick comes in. He picks up 4. 4 more goes to Drew Lock. We got 3rd and 1. That math doesn't add up, but it's a free first down with Golston's penalty. Looks like he jumped off sides. 4 more going to Batty. It's all runs so far as it continues to be 3rd and 1. Batty picks it up. We're inside plus territory as we start the second quarter. If we get inside the red zone, we're definitely going to jump in, but going heavy run here. It's working out for us as we pick up the first down. You know what? This is close enough to the red zone. So coming on in here, we're down to the 24. We got 2 receivers up top, 1 down to the bottom. Honestly, couldn't tell you who's at running back right now. I believe that says McKissick, finding some space and picking up 7. Oh, they say that was his first carry. I could have sworn that we saw, maybe it was a catch he had earlier. I don't know, but I definitely saw him get some yardage. Either way, 2nd and 3 as we hand this one off. Batty not going to get the edge. We did not seal it. That will leave us with a 3rd and 3. First down is at the 14 or about 13 and a half as the blitz goes right down the middle. Roberts hits home. 4th and 10 of the 23. Got to send out the field goal unit. So it will be Maher with about a 40, 41-ish yard field goal here. Snap down, kick is up. We take a lead for the first time. But how will our defense do in keeping that lead? Well, we bent a lot the first time out. We got a lucky interception. I can't say lucky. It was a good play, but we got lucky in the fact that we did get the interception. As once again, we're seeing the Lions just steady moving. Or even a little bit more than steady. Good chunks after chunks. Either way, they're down to the 21 as they hand it off, and it is stuffed by Greenlaw. You know, we had some decent linebackers, I would say, in the Michigan State Only Challenge, but none quite like this, and I'm liking seeing it. 2nd and 13, going to be play action roll. Wilson dumping off to the tight end, who will not get by the edge rush. Randy Gregory gets the ankles and takes us to the 2-minute warning. It is 3-0, though the Lions knocking on the door. They can still get a first down. They're at the 17, first down at the 11. As they spread 2 up top, 1 down below, across the middle. It's going to be open. Keenan Allen spinning and getting away from the defense. Gotta have better tackling than that. Maybe the rain a cause for it. But the Lions take a lead. And that leaves a minute 55 here. We have all 3 timeouts for Drew Lock. Can he get us some more points here before halftime? Line holds up well. It's a deep shot and it's wide open. Play 1, Trey Palmer for the first touchdown in this Central State Only Challenge or States Only Challenge, taking the top off the defense. Just loading up. What an arm. Accurate on the run. A little bit behind, but still not too bad for Drew Lock finding Palmer. Who knows? Maybe we will see a little bit of that Gardner Minshew magic working his way in for Lock. But right now, we need the defense to come through the play. Well, Mike Ford knocks it away. It's 3rd and 1. Russell Wilson converts with a short gain. They're under a minute left. Get a gain of 4 to Michael Wilson. Gain of 7, Keenan Allen. Under 40 seconds now. As they're closing in down to the 27. Down inside the red zone. And they do not have any timeouts remaining. 23 seconds. They're probably looking for the end zone here. Wilson having to roll. Pass rush does force a throw out of bounds. And from there, they're going to take the easy opportunity to level it. 3rd and 1, they send out the field goal unit. I don't think that's a Dan Campbell kind of move, but it's what we see here. So nothing crazy there at the end. It's a 10-10 ball game as we head through half. And as we begin the second half, we're going to start with the sim. Again, we'll jump in if either of these teams are getting inside the red zone or thereabout. And it's the Lions starting off with the ball and 14 yards going to Michael Wilson. Like seeing him make some plays, though, like Mike Wilson, as it's a 52-yard touchdown, Keenan Allen. So not going to be able to jump in. The Lions do take the lead. Defense did well up until that point to not give up the big play. They gave up several consistent good plays throughout drives, but is what it is. Can the offense bounce back here? 3rd and 2. Well, we pick it up with McKissick. We are rotating that running back really, really well. We're also getting a little bit of some rush from Drew Lock as he picks up 4. 3rd and 2, an often occurrence. Tyler Badley picks it up. Did I say Badley? Batty. There's Alberto, gain of 11, first pass play of the drive. Going back to the pass, it's J.D. McKissick. Don't know if that's out of the backfield or at slot receiver. Who knows? As we pick up 5, we're inside the red zone. It's definitely not a traditional way of building the team for sure, at least where we're placing some players, but I can't say it's been too bad in this one, as that pass just a little bit too far out in front. I believe that was for Traylon Burks. And he's someone I really hope we can develop well in this series. Got a bunch down the bottom, one up top. Lone running back in the backfield, will block, throw up top. It is Trey Palmer holding on to it as Carl Lawson shaken up for Detroit. End up thinning out that box for us as it's 1st and goal at the 6. We go with a stretch down to the bottom, try to find a gap, which we do, spinning off and does break the plane. The second touchdown goes to Tyler Batty. That was that break tackle ability that put him in the starting lineup, and it worked out pretty well there for us. It's 3rd and 7 here, though. Can the defense get the stop? Barely. As they give up 6 to Russell Wilson. Do they go for it? No, they punt away. This is a prime opportunity here for us to try to take a lead. And we start deep in our own territory, picking up 7. Then 14 goes to Matt Landers. Good. That's going to be good for his development. Closing on into the 4th quarter with Grover Stewart picking up the sack. Not how I wanted to go into the 4th quarter. With a 2nd and 17. Make it 3rd and 20 after we lose 3. Make it 4th and 28 as we got to punt this one away. It's a good one, though, from Gillian. Can the defense stand tall here? Don't want to give up a touchdown. Field goal you could work with. Michael Wilson with another catch, gain of 11. 5 more to Brian Robinson. 2nd and 5, thrown away. Defense 3rd down. But we give it up by 6 total. 1 extra than what they needed. 1st and 10. Gain of 5 once again. 2nd and 5. A penalty by Gregory will put them close to the red zone. This would be a great area once again for the defense to stiffen up. It's an empty set for the Lions. Wilson with a quick throw going to Keenan Allen, who's just been on fire today. Last I saw, he was 5 of 5, over 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns? 1 touchdown. Either way, he's gotten at some points on the board. And that was before this drive started. As they go with the toss, it will gain a couple, leaving them with 3rd and 5. Greenlaw already has 8 tackles in this one. He was a good early trade for sure. 3rd and 5, need the stop, as it will be play action. Russell rolling up top, dumping this one off, and it's too far for their tight end. It will be 4th and 5, and the field goal unit, I assume at least, headed out. And that assumption would be correct. Not always is. 4th and 5, they are kicking this one, and it will put them up. But I think that means it's time for some more Drew Lock magic. If it can be a little bit slower. 1 play touchdown, sure, I'll take it. But also, I would love to milk some clock here. Batty breaks another tackle that runs for the first. Not bad of a start. 15 rushes, 67 yards. I'm liking Tyler Batty. Just as I was saying, though, would love to milk some clock here. Get a touchdown and end this one on top. As it's not going to be great that time. Tackle for a loss, McKissick. And that'll leave us with a 2nd and long. 2nd and 13 as we go empty. 2 up top, rest down to the bottom. Lock, clean pocket, needs to step up or deliver a clean pass as Cleveland Farrell shaking up another Detroit lineman. They've at least suffered a couple injuries along those lines. Not sure what the update is on the previous. But it's 3rd and long here before us. We're behind the chains. Lock from the clean pocket. Going down to the bottom. Open receiver. 1st down. Traylon Burks. And not going to lie, every time I'm going to say Burks, I'm just going to think of How to Train Your Dragon. Just saying it. It's 1st and 10. We're at the 42. Another clean pocket. Lock having to step up, and the hit made that one funny, but it well travels out of bounds. But we'll stick with the empty looks. I got trips up top, a bunch look. 2 down to the bottom. Lock going across the middle and has his man. It is Trey Palmer. That one puts him over 100 on the day and sends us inside the 2-minute warning. We need at least a field goal. Touchdown would put us in front. We're down at the 48. In plus territory. Will be a throw. Lock. Not as clean of a pocket, but delivers a good ball, and it's going to Traylon Burks. However, that is only his 2nd catch today. Total of 25 yards, so we haven't gone his way often, as it's a key time for us to try to find him. Going deep downfield. It's dipped out at the sideline. Not as deep as I thought it was going to be with that load up. But again, we don't need anything on one play. We still have a minute and a half. We got 3 timeouts. Let's be smart about this. Lock. Pass across the middle. It's wide open. And 87. That's Landers. All right. First catch we've seen from Landers. He did get some in the quick sim. As we go with the play action, going down to the bottom and tipped away. Sauce Gardner with the first big play we've seen from him, that time on Landers. Nearly got out there, just needed it about another yard further to the outside. As we go to the draw, actually this time, McKissick maybe, burst through the gap that was right in front of you. It's a gain of nothing, as we're under a minute left. 3rd and 10. We got trips up top, 1 down to the bottom. Lock, clean pocket. Waiting, got to get rid of it, and he kind of does. 4th and 10 here, you got to take the game-tying field goal. It was Phillips who got the hit in on Lock, but we need this one from Maher. From about the 34, it is up, and we've got a tie game. This is where we need pass rush, and we need good coverage. Get in Wilson's face, don't give up any big plays downfield, or they run it. That works well for us, and they call the timeout, so we get to keep our timeouts if we want a chance, still in regulation to find a winner. 2nd and 9, 35 seconds. Wilson, quick dump off, going to their tight end, who's not going to get the first down. They call the timeout. Defense, get the stop here. Give our offense an opportunity. As it will be a throw. Wilson up top, gets jumped. Take it to the house. Let's go. Big 6 to win the game. No, but it will be an opportunity to at least kick the field goal. Taylor Britt, the #1 pick in the Central State. I'm going to probably make that mistake a couple times. He makes the big play. They went for the dump off. And we got a chance. And I do say chance because I've seen some crazy things happen. We're down at the 8, though. Just need to run this one time right down the middle, call their last timeout. And then we should be home free. Good, don't get in the end zone there. Although I would love for Batty to have another one on this one. But interestingly enough, we end up calling the timeout. And with 11 seconds, we're kicking the field goal. We're giving them a chance. With a timeout still, again, this is exactly why I just said I've seen crazier things. And just because I don't want the game to get weird here on me, I'm jumping in. I'm just going to be playing safety. I'm not controlling anything else. They will not have time to utilize that last timeout as Wilson's scrambling. He steps out of bounds. Okay, thank you, Wilson. We get the win thanks to the pick, not 6. Luckily, nothing crazy there happened at the end, but in week 1, we get the dub. Drew Lock and this Central State's only challenge begins on top. But the magic would not last forever. We got a very similar win in week 2, but in the following next 3 games, we would only score a combined 15 points. Meanwhile, we gave up a whole lot of points. You can do the math if you want, but 47-7, 23-8, and 17-0 shutout against the Vikings. And I just want to take a quick look at these games. Well, first off, in the Bears game, 160 total offensive yards. Drew Lock threw 4 interceptions. I think that's about as much information as we really need from that one. Just not very good. Really bad. Just straight up. In the next game, a little bit better, 200 yards of offense. Drew Lock, no touchdowns, 1 interception. So it was improved, but it's still not very good. And finally, in the Vikings game, it was back to actually the least amount of yards, 155 total. And it was, again, no touchdowns, 1 interception for Drew Lock. So he did pretty well to start off. He had a couple touchdowns in both of these first games. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, completion over 50%. But for some reason, after week 2, he just was not quite himself. And that leaves us at 2-3, set to take on 3 straight divisional games. We're not going to get through all those in today's game, but we will get through this first Broncos game. And as we get this one underway, it will be a quarter sim. To at least start off with, Denver does take the lead, and it looks like they were driving towards getting another touchdown to end that first quarter, and they will get a second. It's 14-0. make it 22-0. As we finally get a touchdown, we give up a touchdown, and at halftime, it is 27-7. So clearly the offense is struggling right now. Be great to start off with some points here, but instead we give up some points, and it is 34-7 as we get into the fourth quarter. So let's at least slow this down a little bit. As we give up the penalty there, it does give them a free set of downs. Derrick Henry then loss of 2. 2nd and 12, they pick up the first down with DeAndre Hopkins. Said that strangely. DeAndre Hopkins said that better. But that's 2 straight tackles for loss on Derrick Henry, so there's at least some positivity there. 3rd and 7, can we get off the field? Yes, we can. As long as they punt it, which they do. So can we at least see us score some points here? Locke rushes for 1. Penalty backs us up. 2nd and 14. Knocked away. 3rd and 14. We get 5. So, and we go for it. Though I don't believe we convert. No, we did convert that one. Great. Well, we're keeping this one going then. As we pick up 15 more, 12 more going to Burks. We're in plus territory. Get inside the red zone here. We'll definitely jump in. Or we throw a pick to Marquise Bell. That might just be the problem that's happening right now. A lot of turnovers. We saw that in a lot of the recent games. For some reason, Locke just not quite getting the job done despite his positive start. As it looks like the Broncos looking to take some more points here late on. They get the first down or get a gain of 8. Then not picking up the first down. Wow, maybe I should read a little bit more. Inches. That one is going to be the first down as we're under a minute left. They end it. So 2 solid games to start off with. But then just 4 straight bad losses. And as we start to round out this episode, we finish 2-4. Obviously, we just lost one to the Broncos. Next up is the Chargers, then right back to the Broncos. So we're playing against the 2 toughest teams in our division, and it's 2 teams that seemingly are doing pretty well to start off with. So clearly we're going to have some tough competition, but if we could start next episode with 2 straight wins against these opponents, that could be huge. One, in getting us back to 500, but really trying to pull us back into maybe a possibility of making the wild card, maybe even a chance at winning the AFC West. We'll see what happens next time. But before you head out, quick stat update. We have the dead last offense, 32nd in the league, defense 26. So I would say pretty close to the ratings of the players, but right now Drew Lock, double the amount of interceptions to touchdowns, 4-8, 55% completion, his long of 75, and then he's been sacked 12 times in 6 games, so about 2 per game. Rushing wise, Batty clearly not having as much success in at least any of the games after the first one that we watched. Average yards per carry is under 3. 3 touchdowns, though, and he's the only one to get any touchdowns. Locke has scrambled a little bit. McKissick not doing too much better in the running game. So running game not doing great. Traylon Burks, our leading receiver on 23 catches, 264 yards, does have a touchdown. Trey Palmer, we saw his touchdown, 233 yards on 15. He's averaging more a catch than Burks, but averaging less yards per game. Albert O, though, does lead us in touchdowns. And blocking-wise, it's been a tough transition for Mitch Morris from being center to left tackle as he's given up nearly a sack a game. Defensively, though, the guy we traded for at the beginning of the actual season, he's leading us in tackles. 61, behind him, Levante David at 48. Tackles for a loss, the leader is Deatrick Wise, then Greenlaw. Sack-wise, how are we doing? Really not a lot. That is 5 in 6 games, so less than 1 per game. Though we're nearly the same on average there of interceptions, 4 throughout 6 games, and we've had 1 from Greenlaw, David, Odom, and Taylor Britt. 2 of those, though, came in the first game. Kicking-wise, though, little positivity here, 100 across the board. But that will do it for us here today. The start of the Central States Only Challenge. It's not a great start. The first game was really fun, but clearly, ever since week 3 or after week 2, it's just not been that good. We got to try to correct that, maybe change the playbook. I feel like there were a lot of deep passes, and Locke's accuracies are best short and a little bit of medium. So we might change around with some playbooks. If you guys got some ideas, do definitely let me know down below. But while you're down there, make sure to hit the bear icon or hit the sub button so you stick around. And if you tap that bell icon, you'll be notified of when these videos go live. This series is going to be every single Wednesday and Saturday. We also have the traditional Panthers franchise every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So do not miss out. A whole lot coming your way. And as we have been plugging, once again, we're closing in on the 1K mark. So if you do enjoy, do stick around. And next time we'll see if we can battle back in the AFC West, starting with 2 straight rivalry games. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have a better season than what we saw for most of the Michigan State Only Challenge. But we'll see next time. So until then, we'll see you later.